And we're live. What's going up? I'm Alexandra. I'm founder of Life With Herpes. It's been a minute since I've been live. Just making sure. Yeah, that's on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The last time I went live, I was streaming live, no pun intended. I was streaming live from Orlando, Florida, where I was at a podcast conference talking about how I'm able to use my vulnerability of being diagnosed with herpes and able to share that and make me more approachable and humble and things like that when it comes to dealing with business. So nothing so much to do about actually what it's like to live with herpes, but how I have used it and been able to move forward. Anyways, enough being said, if you are just joining, this is your opportunity to ask your questions about what it's like to live with herpes. This can be anything from if you were just diagnosed, it can be anything from dating, it can be anything from supplements, how to deal with outbreaks, how to deal with the pain, how to deal with the nerve pain, things of that matter. If you know, and if you've been on my lives before, I get hundreds of questions. And so what happens is sometimes I am not able to get to all of your questions. With that being said, I do my best. You can go on ahead and start asking your questions now. I do my best to answer all of your questions, and I do go in order. Last week I lost my voice. Which was interesting. Last week I lost my voice, but this week I'm doing better. And again, thank you for joining. If you have herpes or you have a friend that has herpes and know someone that needs to hear this information, definitely share it with them. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to educate. I get a lot of questions about herpes up here, herpes down there. This one's HSV1 and this one is HSV2. So that is false thinking. That was from the past. That was what we originally thought. We originally associated if you have herpes up here, it's always going to be HSV1. And if you got herpes down there, it was always going to be HSV2. Why is that? Well, a lot of times we didn't do testing and we just assume, went off assumption. Now we're doing a lot more testing, and now a lot of people are ending up with HSV1, which is the oral kind down there. So a lot of people are now getting genital HSV1. It's not as it's just as common as people living with genital HSV2. It's extremely, extremely common. And one of the reasons for that is that we are not doing a good job of educating our youth and just doing education on oral HSV1. It can be sexually transmitted by doing things with our mouth. And that's something that we don't always disclose. Most people with oral herpes don't disclose. Is it true 1 out of 3 have this? It's actually 2 out of 3. So it's higher than that. It's 2 out of 3 people have HSV1, and that's people that are statistically diagnosed. Those are people that have been diagnosed, that we've done statistics on. There's a whole bunch of people that are actually never going to be diagnosed and never going to get that proper diagnosis, so we're not going to know. But yeah, it's extremely common. HSV1, 2 out of 3 people, or 67% of the population has HSV1. So they also say that by the time you are 50, 90% of the people have come in contact with the herpes virus. So a lot of people say like, oh, I don't want to be around that. I don't want to be around that. We've all been introduced to it. We've all come across it prior to coming down with it. If the cure comes out, do you think Big Pharma will stop it? I don't think so. I think that they're probably working on something. I'd like to think that they won't stop it. I like to have faith that they will come out with some sort of solution. Cure is a very heavy word. It's a very, I don't know if we really have cures. At this point, we can't cure ourselves from viruses. Viruses remain in our body forever. I think that what we can do is we can weaken the virus in our body. I think what we can do is lessen the virus in our body. I think what we can do is try to do those things and prevent outbreaks. If pregnant, can you pass it to the baby? So that's a great question. I'm a mommy. I was pregnant with herpes. You cannot transmit it while pregnant. It's a skin-to-skin transmission. It doesn't go through the umbilical cord. It's nothing that can happen in utero. It's once the baby's out in the open. So you can potentially transmit it during a vaginal delivery, but also once the baby's out and people kiss the babies. People with oral herpes can also potentially transmit it to the baby as well. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to transmit this, transmit this. But we also have to remember, once the baby's out, the baby's going to be in contact with people that have it. 2 out of 3 people have HSV1, 1 out of 6 have HSV2. So it's very, very common. I did have a vaginal birth, and I was able to do that because I was on the antiviral according to my doctor, and it was something my doctor and I discussed. I went on the antiviral a few weeks prior to my due date, and he told me that if I do not have an outbreak, I'm on the antiviral, I had a less than 1% chance of transmitting it to my child. So that was a risk I felt comfortable with. I am not a doctor. I recommend you, if you are pregnant, get on the same page as your doctor. Get a game plan together. Figure something out. What does your doctor feel comfortable with? Is HSV1 less severe than HSV2? It just depends. It's different for everybody. Typically, people with HSV1 have less outbreaks than people with HSV2, but everyone can be different. For me personally, my HSV2 has a little more going on than my HSV1. I've had HSV1 for 20 years, and I've had 4 outbreaks. And with HSV2, I've had lots of outbreaks. So it just depends. Again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for following. If you know anybody that needs to hear this, definitely share this information with them so that we can get this out. I'm here to educate, and that's my purpose, is to do education around this. We're not feeling so isolated and lost. Is it true a false positive is possible? Absolutely. I mean, we're able to have false positives, false negatives. I would invite yourself to look at how you got that false positive. If it is a blood test, those are less accurate. They're still accurate, but they're less accurate. If you're getting a swab done and the swab comes back positive, then that's probably very accurate because they swabbed the viral DNA. So I would invite you to look at what it is. If you do feel like you were misdiagnosed, then I would go back and get that retested in a few weeks. Can a first outbreak happen a few days after being infected? So the typical incubation period of the virus is within 2 weeks. So within 2 to 12 days is when most people get their initial outbreak. However, that's not necessarily the case for everybody, and you can go weeks, months, years, decades before you get your first outbreak. My doctor told me I need to do a C-section if I ever get pregnant. So good to know. Yeah, get on the same page with your doctor, and that might be a practice that your doctor feels comfortable with. My doctor felt very comfortable doing a vaginal delivery. So every doctor is going to have their own perception of it, and that's a matter of you and your partner to get on the same page and feel like, what do you guys feel comfortable with? Was it still an option to have a C-section if you didn't want to even take that small risk? Absolutely. I mean, yes, you and your doctor can put that together. He told me, because if I don't want to take that risk, we can schedule a C-section. And I thought to myself, there's millions of mommies that have babies and millions of mommies that deliver, and we have a medication that can suppress the virus, and so I'm going to use that. Do I take daily Valtrex? I do not. I take supplements that are Lysine and Monolaurin, and I don't have any Lysine right here, but they are from Natural Cure Labs. This is the extra strength Monolaurin. It's from Palmera Health. I do have it linked for you if you want to check it out. I have this one, and then I also take Lysine in addition to it. So Monolaurin is a lauric acid, and what it is, and it's produced in natural human breast milk. It's produced in coconuts and palm oil, and it basically disrupts the outer layer of an enveloped virus. So the herpes virus is an enveloped virus, and which means it has a shell. So imagine like this being a shell. You can't penetrate through it. Our immune system can't penetrate it. So what happens is Monolaurin disrupts it and allows our immune system to go in and fight that virus. So this is really helpful, not just with herpes viruses, but for other enveloped viruses like the cold, the flu. COVID's an enveloped virus. So this is going to be helpful fighting other infections in our body, so it allows our immune system to be going strong. So I take this daily. I take Lysine daily from the same company. You can get one that's a Monolaurin Lysine combo, or you can get one that's just Monolaurin or Lysine. And the Lysine is an essential amino acid. It's a protein that the herpes virus does not like. So it helps block the replication of the herpes virus. And so that's something that is also very helpful. It can help with any prodrome. You can take that with your antiviral if you wish. I'm not a doctor, so if you do have questions, please do your research. Please talk to a doctor. I'm just telling you what I do and how I support my herpes outbreaks or do what I can to prevent them naturally. As I've gotten older, I just wanted to get off any prescription drug, and I go more with a natural supplement. So these are all linked if you want to check them out. They're in the bio. You can check them out. What's the medication you take to prevent outbreaks? So you can take the antiviral, which is a drug. It's it's called Valtrex, valcyclovir, or acyclovir, which is prescribed to you by your doctor. Or you can take supplements like Lysine and Monolaurin that can also naturally help boost your immune system and help prevent viruses or the outbreak. Yes, I have both viruses. I have HSV1 oral and HSV2 genital. Can you have it without knowing, or will you have an outbreak if you have it? So that is one of the biggest misconceptions, is people think like, I would know if I had this because I would get a blister, I'd get a bump, I'd get an outbreak. We all have this preconceived notion of what herpes looks like from what we've seen in Google, or we've heard in jokes, or we've heard in the media, in movies, things like that. And herpes can resemble a lot of different things. It can be one blister, it can be a cluster of blisters, it can be a paper cut. So a lot of times we'll get a paper cut in an area where you're like, oh, I just shaved, I must have nicked myself, and that's it. A cluster of blisters, you'll probably be aware of that and like notice something's going on. But like one little blister that's like not really doing anything, you might just think, oh, it was a bug bite or something of that nature. So most people with herpes are asymptomatic, which means most people that have herpes do not know they have it because they do not show symptoms. So back to your initial question, can you have it without knowing? Yes. 90% of the people living with genital herpes will never be diagnosed. I'm going to say that again. 90% of the people with genital herpes will never know they have it because they're never going to be diagnosed, or they're never going to get outbreaks, they're never going to be tested for it, or they're just going to ignore it and think, oh, it's a paper cut. It's not herpes, it's something else. So those are the reasons why herpes continues to be transmitted, is most people don't know they have it. What are the symptoms? They could be different for everyone, but for me, if I feel it coming on, I get swollen lymph nodes, I get exhaustion, overall rundown, achy body, flu-like symptoms for me like a day before. And then of course, a blister. It can feel like a shock, like a electric current almost going through your skin. I would describe it as like a rubber band hitting your skin. It can be itchy. It can be an itch that's like, I want to get it, or an itch that's almost like a painful itch, like, oh, it hurts to itch it, but it feels good. So those are some symptoms. Wow, sorry, I'm just trying to go through. Okay, I'm on valcyclovir daily even though I don't have any outbreaks after my first one. So that's great. The medication's doing what it's supposed to do. It's suppressing you from getting future outbreaks. So that's going to be your best way to prevent transmission to a partner. How do you go about disclosure? I would ask yourself a few different questions. One, is it something that's super casual, or is it something that is a longer term? If it's something super casual, just go right out and do it. Have the disclosure saying like, I get tested, this is what I've been tested for, these are the things I've been negative for, here's the thing I'm positive for, this is what I'm going to do to prevent transmission. Have you ever been tested for it? Most likely you haven't, because doctors don't test for it. Most people that have it don't know they have it. I would kind of go like with that. I'm going to have to get off soon because I'm losing my voice, you guys. If it's a longer term relationship, you're looking for that longer term, I would have the conversation that's, let's talk about our sexual health. Let's talk about the relationship. What are we looking for? Are we monogamous? Are we not monogamous? Are we monogamously sleeping together but not monogamously dating? Like what does our relationship look like? Use that as an opportunity to go into a conversation about sexual health. Use that conversation as an opportunity to go into what you've been tested for, what herpes is. What I never want you to do, I never want you to go in thinking you're less of a person and like you're asking for approval from this person. You're not asking for approval, you're communicating. This is what I have. You have things going on too that I am going to take a risk on as well. I have to make that decision, but this is what I'm disclosing. How common are false positives? I don't have a statistic on that, but if you tested positive for herpes in a blood test, it's if it wasn't like a low number, it was a high number, it's probably pretty accurate, and I would recommend going back again. Did I have more outbreaks during pregnancy? I did in my third try. I had a lot in my third try. What vitamins do I use? I use Monolaurin and I use Lysine. So here's the Monolaurin. I don't have Lysine. I'm almost out. I just ordered some more, but I do have them linked. So I take both of these in cahoots to help suppress my outbreaks. Also, if you want to do some things topical that are awesome, we created some topical lotions, some balms, some salts. We do have this recovery soak, which is something that I don't take enough. I don't take enough baths, but it is absolutely amazing on your body. Your skin feels amazing afterwards, and there's ingredients in it that can help with the pain. It can help calm your nervous system, and that's what that's formulated for. And then also topically, this one is my favorite. I like using the Everyday Wellness Oil topically on my outbreaks. I just feel that I'm an oil person, but you guys, this is the best seller is the Rescue Balm. You guys like to roll this on. You can just, it smells delicious, but it's a balm. My son put his finger in it. This is not for sale, and this is just my live demonstration one. But anyways, you can just roll it on your skin directly, and it helps with itch, it helps with the tingle, it helps with repairing it. There's natural ingredients like peppermint oil, eucalyptus, lemon balm, all yummy things in here to help fight the things topically. I do have them linked for you if you join the newsletter for the Secret Society Wellness products, I do special discounts for my email list. I only do it for my email list. I don't discount it on social media. I don't give out the promo code on social, so I only do it for the email list. Okay, do you test your son for antibodies or are able to do anything to correct this? I do not test him. I kiss him. I share stuff with him. I feel like it's important to have a normal life with him. And I'm not the only one with herpes in his life. So there's other people in his life that have it. So like he has 3 teachers. So technically 2 of his 3 teachers have it. You know what I mean? Like I can't do anything I can't remove him from it. Do you use black seed oil and honey? I have never used either. I've heard some wonderful things about honey. L-lysine and lysine are the same thing, yes. You found out you had it because you had meningitis. Yeah, you probably got a lot of blood tests done. How do I handle rejection? I've been able to remove my ego from it or just realize that it's my ego trying to protect me. It's my ego trying to keep me from being hurt. And I removed myself from the stigma. I don't associate with the stigma anymore. I used to be terrified. I used to be suffocated by the stigma. And when you learn to detach yourself from that stigma and realize like it's something that's made up, it's something that we created, and it's something that we have just, we've created it, then, and the person that I'm meant to be with isn't going to judge me for it. So the person that rejected me, either he's not capable of, he's not emotionally responsible to handle it. Like he just can't emotionally handle it. He's either married to a concept that he's not going to change. That belief in his mind is never going to change and he doesn't want to change it. Or 3, he's not into me. So I don't want any man that's in one of those 3 categories. So that's just how I view it. All right, my friends, I am going to go. I am losing my voice. I want to thank you for joining me and spending the day with me. And I just appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everything I talked about has links in the bio, so you can go check them out if you want. Wow, I have my mascara down here. My nails look awful. Look at that. Anyways, have a great day, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate every single one of you. Big hearts. Bye.